The Last Strait Man. No one ever figured out exactly how it happened. At first, it was whispers, claims from fringe scientists that a certain chemical, once tested in labs for its effects on amphibians, had seeped into the atmosphere. Nobody believed it until it was too late. By the time the truth was clear, the change had already swept across humanity. Something in the air shifted desire, rewired attraction. Overnight, the world stopped reproducing. Couples dissolved, families fractured. Love didn't disappear, but it turned in one direction only. Same-sex pairings became the universal norm. All except for Daniel. He was 32 when it began. A construction worker from San Antonio. The kind of man who kept his head down and minded his own business. At first, he thought it was just him clinging to old feelings. But as the years passed, it became undeniable. He was the last straight man on Earth. Isolation. Daniel's struggle wasn't just loneliness. It was being an anomaly in a world that no longer understood him. People didn't hate him, in fact, many pitied him. To them, he was an outdated relic of a past era, like someone who still listened to music on cassette tapes. But pity didn't fix the ache. It didn't stop the empty beds. And it didn't silence the whispers of friends who told him he should just let go and be like everyone else. The government made it worse. They treated him like a resource, not a man. Researchers begged him to donate samples, hoping to unlock some genetic immunity. For a while he agreed, clinging to the hope that humanity might reverse course. But after years of sterile laboratories and failed experiments, it became clear there would be no cure, no second chance. Would decline. Within a generation, birth rates collapsed to zero. Artificial womb technology tried to pick up the slack, but it couldn't scale fast enough. The infrastructure of civilization, already strained, began to crumble. Schools emptied, playgrounds grew silent, and entire cities became ghost towns. Daniel watched as humanity aged without replacing itself. A gray-haired population clung to life, but the writing was on the wall. The species had cut its own cord. Ours the weight of survival. For Daniel, the hardest part wasn't knowing he was different. It was knowing he could have continued the human race, yet couldn't do it alone. He needed women who still felt what he felt, and there were none left. Love, attraction, intimacy. All the things that could have carried humanity forward were stripped from his reach. He tried to keep busy. He planted gardens, fixed abandoned houses, and wrote in journals. But as decades passed, he watched neighbors, friends, and co-workers fade away, leaving him with silence. The irony wasn't lost on him. People once feared overpopulation, yet in the end it was desire itself, the most natural thing that brought about extinction. For the last generation, on his 65th birthday, Daniel walked through the empty streets of what used to be a bustling city. Weeds broke through cracked asphalt. Skyscrapers stood like tombstones for a civilization that had chosen a different path, without realizing the cost. He stopped, sat on the steps of a crumbling courthouse, and stared at the horizon. He wasn't just the last straight man. He was most likely the last man who would ever live. And when he was gone, humanity's story would end. Not with war, not with fire, but with silence born from misplaced chemistry in the air.